It's
them.
natural talent.
Yeah.
It's not even in it to win it. The SAT perfect kids are in it to win it. It's talent.
Yeah. So
That matters. Like, I'm in it to win it to be a fucking pro football quarterback. I'm fucking in it to win it. It's not gonna happen. And we do not have the proper context around entrepreneurship. Until we start understanding the level of talent involved in it, we will always undermine how difficult it is because we think it's a process. And that doesn't mean, again, this is why underlining that, we have to contextualize how awesome it is. We have to start putting on a pedestal, starting a direct-to-consumer, jam business on Shopify where you make $183,000 a year because you love making jam because you and your grandma made it, and like that being a massive success because you're happy as shit, and you can live your lifestyle and you live under the means of $183,000 a year. We have to put that on a pedestal. That is when entrepreneurship can hit its golden era. This notion now of everybody building the next Instagram is ludicrous talk.
build it
Everybody
for the long term.
starts a business now to sell it. That is the culture they grew up in.
Yeah, there's nothing like having a business that
That's why
runs.
everybody's building financial arbitrage machines. They're just fundraising to the flip. Everybody wants to be 26 and a trillionaire and fucking have a jet and a fucking baby giraffe and fucking bullshit. It's bullshit.
So you've talked about it a couple times. How do you, the relationship between success and failure, how do you define success and how is it related to failure?
I define success as waking up and being happy and being able to do what you want to do at all times.
Yeah, and as a parent, would you rather have your kids be successful or happy? That's an easy one, right?
It's super simple. And we are absolutely at an inflection point where there's people like me and different things happening where we're starting to have different conversations. Like freedom is what everybody's chasing, but they're confused about what it actually looks like. It's not how much you make, it's how much you spend. There's a lot of people who could be way more free if they didn't overextend themselves on what they're buying. Keeping up with the Joneses, it is the poison of our society. I'm not sure anybody is taking enough risk from 20 to 30. Yeah. It is the most interesting thing that I've been thinking about, which is it is never more practical to be disproportionately risky than from 22 to 30, yet everybody goes the other way because now they're the real world and it's time to prove something to their parents, to themselves, to everybody else, and everybody goes conservative. It is a huge mistake. We need to flip it upside down. Everybody should go ham from 22 to 30 and do a ton of ridiculous shit and figure themselves out. But on your own dime, not your parents.
There's the parents clapping.
So how I think about it is you should go and be rogue and get to know yourself and taste shit from 22 to 30, but you have to live by the ramifications of doing that. And the cost of entry of that is living with 4 people in a studio apartment, eating dog shit food, and not having fancy shit. When you go and do that, but you're being subsidized by your parents, then you're living in a fake environment and you're super fucked. As you can imagine, like coming on stage and getting this kind of love from the 20-year-old set, it's like something I could have never dreamed of. It feels remarkable, but I'm unbelievably passionate about over-communicating the shortcomings of an environment where entrepreneurship is cool. It's the same way that being a professional athlete and a rapper is cool. Very few people can actually achieve it at a heavy, high-level success. So 2 things are important to me. 1, I want to redefine what a successful entrepreneurship path looks like. Like, if you make $136,000 a year on a business that you run, that you like doing around something you like, and you can live that lifestyle, that is a remarkable feat. But that is not the picture we're painting of a successful entrepreneur. We're painting private jets and islands and all sorts of fucking ludicrous shit, And so, I think it's remarkable. I mean, we need a level set. The 1% earners in our country, one of the richest countries in the world, the bottom of the 1% make $420,000 a year. Yet, like, everybody starts the conversation of macro big success at $1 million. Like, we're twisted. And we also have to talk way more about happiness. We also have to talk about what it looks like to have a scarlet letter of an L when your company fails in a world where you've never had a public loss in your life because you've played through a school system. There's a lot of things that we have not addressed. There are a lot of people right now that are flossing on Instagram as entrepreneurs who are gonna go into deep depression or even suicide when they take a massive L on the next correction in our economy, and that's going to be tough. I like micro failure. I like micro failure. I hate macro failure, like death of your business is bad. But to me, you know what's funny? I'll use a boxing analogy. My favorite boxing, I watch a lot of boxing. I think boxing's a very interesting, and I'm super into mixed martial arts, but I grew up on boxing, I understand it better. And I like watching it because there's so many things that happen in boxing. First of all, what I love about boxing is there's nowhere to hide. You know, like it's super interesting, right? There's nowhere to hide. Number two, there's a scenario in boxing that I love the most. For some reason, there's nothing more interesting to me than watching somebody get knocked down in the first round and then go on to win the fight easily. It's an interesting psyche, right? And I like that, and this is what I'm thinking about it, which is like, here's what's bad in boxing and in business. Going into a fight, getting knocked the fuck out in the first round and losing the match. Bad. Getting knocked down and then having the adversity to readjust to what you got caught on and navigating it to easily win a fight is remarkable. That's how I think about entrepreneurship. The reason so many people struggle with entrepreneurship is you have micro failures almost daily, and they're very in your face. You can't hide. And I like that. I like failure because I think I deserve it. I hate when people don't respect the game. When I fail, it means I fucked up. And I like that because I think people get audacious. My number one thing that I hate about capitalism is that people use it and they love it and they're big capitalists and they love open market and competition and all that. And then they become 73 and they try to use all their money to protect their money. They're not willing to let a young lion eat them the way they ate somebody else. I hate when they try to manipulate it. That's what I love about sports. What I love about sports is when you're 36 and you were once the best player in the league, but now you're getting a little bit older and your body breaks down, you are forced to retire. The one thing that entrepreneurship and capitalism has to adjust to is once you get old and you're tired and you want to be on a yacht instead of working your shit, you should lose some money because you're losing.
And I do think you have to experience failure because you learn just the way the human being is wired. You're going to learn 10x with some failure than you are in some adversity.
I'm actually getting excited here. Or let me frame it up a little bit different. Or you love it so much, that you never were able to do anything else, and just the process of playing the game is the success itself. Or you love it so much that you actually don't give a fuck about the trophies, AKA the money that comes along with it. It's that you just wouldn't know how to breathe otherwise if you weren't in the process of entrepreneurship itself. I will never fail because there is no failure. The at-bat is the macro win. If I lost all my money because I did 37 ridiculously bad decisions and over-leveraged myself, the ability to go back to zero and try to buy shit at the dollar store and flip it on eBay and build it back up weirdly excites me more than where I am right now. I swear on my children's health.
No kidding.
The thought of going to zero, having all of you judge me as, see, he wasn't as good as you thought, and then rising back like a phoenix and sticking it in your fucking face excites the shit out of me. I believe that right there is the definition of entrepreneurship. It's when you love your game more than what the game gives you. That's why I like losing. The game told me I lost. Respect to the game. That's why I like playing. I did this when, my friends, I was an entrepreneur when there was no conversation around this. In the 80s and 90s school system and society that I grew up in, I was a failure for making $2,000 a weekend selling baseball cards. I did this when it wasn't cool. I'll do it now while it's cool, and I'll do it again in 15 years when it's not cool again because the economy will collapse, and because we don't like to be accountable, we like blaming things, and so we're gonna blame entrepreneurship, not the fact that you weren't self-aware and didn't realize that you weren't a fucking entrepreneur. Is right. When people ask me what's your failures, I've got none. I found my place. I will do it in perpetuity, and the gratitude that oozes out of my soul is why I put out so much content the way I do, because I'm desperate to give back on something that I realize I was gifted by circumstance, and I feel a level of gratitude and almost a level of guilt and a need to communicate in a framework that so many people in this room did not have the luxury of that North Star or the ability to stumble into their perfect place.